Thanks for coming by. This is SEO as Digital's convergence point. I'm Herndon Hasty. I'm director of SEO for iProspect.
And I'm Paul Gazda, one of the account directors on the GM business.
And today we're going to be talking about why natural search is still important for brands, the challenges that come into SEO now and in the future, and what iProspect does to be able to address those challenges. So to start, natural search is huge. By being here, you probably already know that, and depending on your vertical, it's driving somewhere between 20 and 50% of your traffic for the most part. It's also a major source for direct conversions, for people who are deciding about products to purchase, services to undertake, and other pieces like that, which makes it really important to be able to get you that direct ROI. But the cool part about search is that only about 10% of searches fall into that kind of acquisition territory. A full 80% of searches are informational. People who are looking for information, people who are looking for entertainment, for inspiration, and this really leaves a wide body of customers and potential customers to be able to reach through search in general and natural search in particular. It really makes SEO something that can solve for just about any business challenge that's out there and really reach customers at any point during their consumer journey.
And I mean, at iProspect, we're a digital performance agency, so our main focus has always been lower funnel. But we get to a point within our business where we're going to start going flat if we always just focus on the lower funnel. So even as a performance agency, we really want to start going up that funnel and look at that 80% that Herndon was talking about of informational queries that are out there or what those people are asking for. A great way to do that is content. I mean, not looking at it from a brand perspective or branding content, but looking at it as an informational content that they're looking for that still fits within your business model, still fits within your vertical, but allows you to kind of subsequently pull in extra consumers. With that said, though, one of the big things and one of the big issues that we're going through is SEO keeps getting harder and harder. They constantly change it. We have our good friends, Panda and Penguin, which I'm sure everyone loves to hate, but what we find out with this is that what works last week or what worked 2 months ago or 3 months ago might not work today, or dare I say, might actually be harmful for you to do. It might be considered spammy or risky, and you get punished for that from an engine. Also though, but within the algorithm, on a more positive note, is engines have gone out and specifically said that social is a huge part of it. So if you go to Google right now and search for anything, or Bing or Yahoo or any engine for that matter, you're going to see G+ results. How many people like this? How many tweets? How many retweets? I mean, social is a huge part, and engines have specifically said this is a main part of their algorithm and how we rank well.
And Google's evolving in a lot of different ways. So for one, Google is almost becoming more of an app. So rather than necessarily just giving you a big block of blue links for natural search results, it's answering questions ahead of time. So for example, if you do a search for weather, it doesn't just give you weather.com at the top, it gives you a 10-day forecast sitting right there in your search results. If you do a search for Austin, it does give you a link to the CVB up at the top, but then you get this nice big knowledge graph block that tells about upcoming events, sites to see in Austin, and other pieces of information that get you closer to an answer than just providing links as far as that goes. And Google Now, kind of a centerpiece app for Google, does kind of what I like to think of as pre-searching, basically taking information that you've provided to Google about your schedule, your contacts, and factoring in things like where you are, time of day, to be able to start giving you information before you even have a chance to think about needing it. How long is it going to take me to get to my next appointment? Where can I grab lunch nearby? And providing all kinds of information before you even have a chance to think about that need. But by the same token, Google is also getting more human. It's getting better at understanding exactly what it is that you're looking for as part of that process, to the point that someday, and this has been nice and creepy for everybody here, you're going to be able to drop the word fish into Google. And based on the time of day, your location, your search history, your friend's search history, and a lot of other factors, Google's immediately going to know whether you're looking for a restaurant, a recipe, a pet store, or anything else that could be associated with the word fish, and be able to provide search results and answers for you right there on that screen based on that need right at that time. Both of those things really make for Google an evolving definition of what it means to rank in Google and to have a presence in Google, and what SEO and natural search really mean in the first place. But even if you strip away the engines, SEO is hard. SEO was really hard, especially for bigger organizations. If you think about what it takes to be able to get a piece of content or a landing page created at your website, throw SEO out the door, and then think about what it takes to be able to get that page or content promoted. It's really hard to make all of those gears turn at once, let alone to build in SEO implications for what exactly that page should look like, what content should be on it, and how you should be promoting it. So all to say that SEO needs to be able to solve for the aggressive growth that we know you all are looking for, while also being able to drive those results through a lot of different channels. It needs to be forward thinking in terms of where Google is headed for its algorithm or its general presence, but also in terms of making sure that we're not going to be getting you in trouble with the next Panda or Penguin that comes about. All of that wrapped in the mantle of also needing to provide to be able to use your authentic brand voice and maintain your brand integrity is all of this. So that's really why we've lit upon SEO as a convergent channel. SEO being a place where people, channels, and technology meet to be able to not only add incremental value that's going to come from natural search, but to improve the overall presence and usability for your content and for your external presences as possible.
And as Herndon mentioned, I mean, people are extremely important. They're consumers. That's how we drive business. So knowing exactly what channels they're in, what strategies are going to work best, and how best to approach them from an SEO perspective or even just a marketing perspective is extremely important. With CCS, I'm sure you've heard about it before from some of our other Insight Labs. CCS it's a Aegis proprietary platform and database that really allows us to determine who the consumer is, regardless of where they're at within the funnel, upper, lower, anywhere in between. Also, exactly what platforms they're using, what works best for them, what strategies to use with them. And with that, we can really start determining what strategy and moving forward that's going to work best. With that said, though, any strategy can fall flat and can fail, but with making sure that we're all working together is extremely important. So sure, we can use software like CCS to determine who the consumer is and where they're at, but then also working together with you to determine what groups are going to work best together so strategy does last.
And while a wide variety of channels go into driving natural search results, it's also important to approach these in such a way that it's not just kind of the barking at channels. It's understanding the people on the other side of it, not just saying you need to be using these keywords in this post because SEO, just do it. It needs to be about, yes, it's going to drive SEO value, but by having keywords in your Facebook post, it is going to help it show up better within Facebook searches. By having links integrated into Twitter and Facebook really well, it's not only going to have that incremental value for natural search, it's also going to get more people from Facebook and Twitter to your site to be able to drive even more direct value that's just coming from your channel, and making sure that value is expressed on a regular basis, not just in terms of because you did these things, your rankings on these kinds of terms have improved, but also this is what we're seeing for improvements within your own channel. And it's really important to make those connections, to be able to work with all of these different channels, not just because it drives results, but because this method, this framework, this approach is the way that you achieve scale, and it's the way that you achieve scale safely, to be able to not have to worry about the next Panda or Penguin, because by approaching SEO into these sorts of channels, things that your businesses are doing or should be doing already, you're going to create content, linking, and authority in such a way that is natural and isn't going to be getting you in trouble with Google anytime moving forward. But it's not just about the channels and the people themselves, it's about how technology also then amplifies that and clarifies exactly what your results are telling you. So we're top customers with BrightEdge and Conductor, which are two of the biggest names in the SEO reporting platform business, which means that not only do our teams have closer training and insights on how to use the tool to be able to get the most out of the information that can come from it, but it also means that we can play a role in their upcoming playbook in making sure that what we see as being important to SEO is being built into their reporting platform. we also have close partnerships and certifications with companies like Bazaar Voice, which if you have customer reviews at your site, there's a very good chance it's probably Bazaar Voice that's pushing them. And also with Bloomreach, they have a lovely booth out front. They're definitely worth talking to. They drive kind of a great way to create or automatically generate and amplify content that fits well in kind of the mid to long tail and supplements kind of wider SEO campaigns very well. But it's important that we have those kinds of partnerships in place, because these are also technologies that you're using not just for natural search, which we can help you get the most out of that opportunity from the natural search side of things, but so that we can make sure that you're getting the most out of your engagement with companies like that. And of course, having experience with a wide variety of site platforms that drive your website makes a really big difference in being able to not just get past some of the issues that may be in play, but also to be able to play more of an active role in actually achieving things. So, not just knowing a lot about the Adobe website platform to be able to keep GM up and moving, but also being comfortable enough within Demandware and other website platforms like it to be able to jump into a CMS or other things and be able to knock out easy SEO wins without your marketing teams, your development teams having to spend any time whatsoever getting it done. If you have a blogger, considering one, WordPress or Drupal is probably the direction you're going to go, both of which we have experience in and know how to make the most of. And even for kind of specialized things, just looking at the crowd, I know this is a fairly heavy e-com kind of group. Endeca, which I'm sure you're familiar with, is something that a lot of your merchandisers are probably using for being able to sort the site and do so in an SEO-friendly way. But it's also something that we've been able to use for several of our clients to be able to create pages and content for keywords that we see an immediate need for, but that we can't otherwise get built at the site. And we leverage all of that within a framework that allows us to be able to scale our efforts up and down exactly where it is, where it's going to be able to help the most. Because we know that no matter what strategy we put together, no matter how we approach things, there are always going to wind up being roadblocks. So it's important to have that initial strategy, but to have the flexibility then to be able to move between areas, key areas, anything from website development to social to content to all of these other areas, so that, for example, after we've kind of gotten an initial burn-in on technical sorts of things, and we know that your dev team is going to be spending a lot of time getting those solutions in place, that then allows us to scale down the time that we're spending within that just to be able to keep everything moving, but scale up the time that we're then spending with your social team, with helping to figure out content calendars, to be able to figure out anything else that can be driving more results for you while those development pieces are coming along, and to be able to keep cycling through and driving greater and greater results for you.
And another example, a global automotive company. I'm sure you can all guess who that is, especially with me talking right now. So the great thing with the framework there is what we found out is within each of the different regions, they kind of did their own thing. So what the framework allowed to do was bring everything together in a cohesive manner and then take the strategy on head on and determine what levers should be raised or lowered based on the regions that we were in. The great thing is it was over 20 markets. We were able to see great results within the first year. US, we've had for 2 years, and globally, we're starting to see great results this year. We're anticipating even better results. So the framework really does help, and not just on a US perspective, but definitely on a global perspective.
So this approach in treating SEO as a convergent channel where people, channels, and technology are meeting, or what is what are allowing iProspect to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to natural search. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So yesterday we were talking about search-powered social. Mm-hmm. But I also think that there's something interesting about social-powered search. So could you maybe talk about what are some of the key signals that the search engines are seeing from social platforms, comments, likes? What's the most important, actions on the social platforms that will influence what comes up in the search?
Sure. So the greatest impact, the greatest impact that social can have on search is actually in kind of the indirect pieces that come through. because there's, while there are pieces on the social side that are important and can get picked up, there's a lot on Facebook that's invisible. There's a lot on Twitter that Google just can't keep up with. So, a lot of it is amplifying content and getting it out there in such a way that it can be shared and enjoyed by a greater number of people, because that then means that there's a much better chance that the links that will pop up as part of that can get escaped to something that Google can read, that more people will want to link directly to that content, engage with that content, and really kind of get involved that way.
So it's mostly, you're saying shares.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, to kind of further add to that, I mean, SEO is really relevance based. So obviously, any kind of search engine or anyone is going to want the most current, up to date, what they feel, what consumers want to look at, or what a searcher wants to look at. So if you're pushing something else that gets a ton of likes, or a ton of shares, or a ton of retweets, or whatever you want, whichever social platform you're using, obviously the engines are going to look at that as an important item that people want to see. If you get 1 or 2 tweets, why would they really post that? It doesn't make any sense. Obviously, the content that you're trying to put out there socially didn't work, so they're not going to use that to try to engage consumers and give that content to them.
Any other questions? Any favorite sessions so far?
Besides this one?
Thank you.
Well, I mean, naturally.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you. Thank you.